How many of you have these fun inflatables for your Christmas decorations? Well, we do. And before I discovered on how to fix these things, they never lit up very well. Right now, I fixed Santa and the dog, and we're going to work on the snowman today. Snowman's not very bright, but we're going to go ahead and take care of him. Also, the Grinch, he looks like he's good, but when you see him without being on the camera, he's still not good. So we may have to fix the Grinch too. But anyway, we're going to show you how you can do it. It's really fun, it's fast, it's quick, and really inexpensive. So let's go do it. Alright, let's get started. So what you're going to need is you're going to need a soldering iron and solder. And if you don't have a soldering iron and solder, you can get maybe a little product like this, these posi twist things. The wire is really thin, so it's probably best to solder it, but you could use those. You're going to need a wire stripper, and you're going to need what they call diagonals to cut the wire. This is a shrink tube, which we're going to put over the connection that we make, and this is a lighter that we use to shrink the tube once it's over the lighter. You're going to need a voltmeter, but it's only going to be to make sure you get the wiring straight, but there is a way you don't have to have one of those, and I'll talk about that when we get to that part. I'm using this Scotch mount tape. It's good and strong. It's a little stronger than the light tape. You're going to need a scissors to cut that tape. You're going to need a box cutter to cut the light parts off. Probably going to need a glue gun, but not necessarily. It's just something you can use. And then, of course, you need the lights themselves. So let's go get the inflatable and take his light out and put a new one in. Now that we've got the patient on the table, let's get inside here and find out where that light is. So it's usually underneath by the fan. There's usually a zipper or something. We open up that zipper. That gives us access into the inflatable, and it's this white wire here that goes to the light, that wire there. So we know by the little pin that's on the back of the light that the light is up here. There's usually a little holder here. It'd be nice if we could take that off, but I've never tried doing that. Anyway, let's go in here and grab the light and pull it out through the hole. This is the actual light right here. And what we're going to do is we're going to cut this wire. So we're going to take our diagonals here and snip that wire. And then the other thing you want to do is, since we're going to attach it to the back of this, you want to make this as smooth as possible. Now, in this particular one, there's an indentation, and that's what I'm going to use the glue gun for. We're going to fill up the glue inside that and then make this a flat back, so we'll put the light right on top of that. So the next thing we got to do is we've got to strip this wire back, and we're just going to take the diagonals here and cut that and split the wire just like that. So we'll split the wire. And then we're going to take our wire strippers and we're going to strip that back. And then twist these up. Now this wire is really thin, but it shouldn't hurt anything. Now this is DC, meaning it's just like a battery, and it's plus 12 volts. So that means that one of these leads are a positive and the other one is a negative. And you have to make sure that you do that with the light, the new light that we put in. So let's take a new light here, and we're going to cut that off of here. And then we'll take our diagonals and we're going to cut this. Alright, get these lights out of the way. So this is the new light. Now, since there's only one, I only need one lead, so you can really just cut that off like that. And we're just going to work with this one side here. And again, we're just going to take the diagonals and open that up and spread the wires. We then again take the wire stripper and go in there and strip the ends off. And we'll twist that also, just like we did the other one. And then again, this is where we need to determine the plus and the minus. Now on this light itself, we know the red is the plus because there's a little plus sign right here, and there's a minus sign there, so we know the red is that way. On this wire, I don't know what it is, and this is where the voltmeter can come into play. And all you need to do is plug this in and then take your voltmeter leads, your positive and your negative, make sure you're on your DC scale, and put them onto the two wires. And when you get a positive reading, you'll know which one is the positive. Now, I know from doing these before that this little black mark means that that's the positive. If you don't have a voltmeter, all you need to do is just hook these two wires up. And a lot of people are probably going to think that black is negative because that's usually the way it is. However, in electrical wiring, though, the black wire is a hot wire. So if you think about it that way, then you got a black mark here. And anyway, you can just put those two wires together and turn it on. And if it works, great, you got the polarity correct. If it doesn't, you just reverse the polarity. So you don't really need the a voltmeter. You can do it the old-fashioned way. All right, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to cut some of this heat shrink tubing. And I'm just going to cut a couple small pieces off here. And then we're going to take the heat shrink tubing and put it on the wire itself. And then the next thing we're going to do is find our black wire. Which wire has the black on it? And it's this one here. So we're going to attach this wire to the positive one here on the light. And we're just going to twist that up like that. And then we'll do the same with the negative side here. And we're going to twist that up like that. Alright, now that we've got that done, then what we're going to do is solder these wires. So we'll get the soldering iron and we'll do that. I'm going to assume you know how to solder if you have a soldering iron. So we put a little solder on the tip of the soldering iron, get it hot. Then we're going to touch that solder to the wire itself. And then we'll feed a little bit of solder in it. And the wire will actually just get hot and just suck the solder right into it. So and that's it, our wires are soldered. So the next thing we're going to do is I'm going to just snip a little bit off here, make it a little bit shorter because of the heat shrink tubing that I'm going to put on it. And we'll straighten these wires out like so. And then I'm going to take the heat shrink tubing and slide it on over where that joint is. And then we get our lighter here, and we're going to take that and heat the heat shrink tubing, and it shrinks down. And we'll do that to this side. And that's it. That's all you need to do for your joint. So next thing we're going to do is get the light prepared. So I told you about that indentation that's in the light here. And I don't know if I can get this closer just to kind of show you that. There's a slight indentation in the light right here. And what we're going to do is we're going to take the glue gun and we're going to fill that up. Then I'm going to use the back of the light here to smash that down to make it smooth. So we'll take the glue gun and we're just going to put glue in here. And then we're going to take the back of this and just smash that flat. Now, because it has that release paper on it, it doesn't really stick. So, but now I've given myself a flat surface that we can attach the light to. So I'm going to give this a little bit to dry, and then I'm going to put on some of that 3M tape. because I did have one that I tried and it fell off. So the 3M tape seems to work pretty good for it. And this is the 3M tape. It's indoor-outdoor extreme tape, holds 30 pounds. So this is what I use. We'll just cut a little piece off of that. All right, next up, I'm just going to take a little bit of this tape here, and only about maybe 3/4 of an inch is all I really need. And I'm going to cut that off. And I'm going to take that and I'm going to put it on the back of the light here, the old light that's attached to it. Just kind of push that on. This holds pretty good. And then the next thing we're going to do is remove the red backing here so that we can get to the sticky part of it. Alright, let's remove this red piece. Cut that off. And then the next thing we're going to do is we're going to remove the blue piece. Alright, we got the blue piece removed. And then now all we're going to do is connect these, put this piece on top of this one. Just look where you cut the wire off at, because that's where then put your wire down. Attach it to the back, push it in there really hard, and that's it. You've replaced the light. Next thing we do is we just stick them back up in there, close the zipper, put them back out in the yard. Okay, so I got all the lights changed, and I guess the biggest one you can tell the difference of is the old snowman there. He's now glowing nice and bright, so everything worked out really good.